And I have mixed feelings about it. I don't want to go too spoiler heavy into it, but you could feel the absence of Charles Deet's character in the film. And there I don't want to try and delve I don't want to delve too much into it because I feel like it goes into spoiler territory and I don't want to ruin the movie for people. But without Jeffrey Jones there, it just you can they try to center it around they try to go around his character. They try to go around Charles, but they end up just bringing him back in and it feels weird. It feels very weird. And I feel that there were a lot of stories that were just all over the place. I feel like there were too many things going on at once, and I just felt like they couldn't find a focus. They were talking about, you know, Lydia's marriage to this new guy. I don't want to spoil too much. Well, um, they try to focus on too many stories, and then the movie feels overstuffed, and it feels like there's not enough time to tell it in just one movie. And I felt like there were certain stories uh, that could have been expanded upon. I felt that the relationship between Beetlejuice and his first wife that could have been touched base more on, and the way they did touch base on it, it was funny and it was clever, but I thought it could have been explored more, and it kind of just felt like it was there and put to the side as like, well, this is a side story, this is just to keep the movie going. And it was actually very disappointing, to be honest with you. I liked there were certain things about it I did like. I loved Michael Keaton and the energy he brought. Jenna Ortega, she captured Jenna Ortega. Sorry about that, friends. Jenna Ortega captured Lydia Dietz' character, a younger version of her perfectly, but not completely like her. And it was great. Her storyline was great, and Catherine O'Hara was amazing. I didn't think she could pull off Delia again. 'Cause it's been I don't even know how many years because the original film came out in the late '80s, and that was great. Lydia, I don't know. It just hmm I don't know. Lydia's character, I mean, she's going to change and it makes sense, but it just seems like it was an actor trying to play two different characters, and it almost felt like the character wasn't the same as the original. But that's just my take, and I enjoyed certain parts of it, but like the storyline with Willem Dafoe and stuff, like I said, it just felt like it was put in there and then it was just put to the side. Like, here it's in the movie, but we'll get back to that later, probably 30 minutes into it. And that kind of ruined it for me. I wanted these stories to be explored more, to go in more into detail. So Beetlejuice as a sequel, um, I'd say it's about, I'd say it's probably about a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I wouldn't say 4. The first one was definitely a 4, but Beetlejuice, it was okay, but you could definitely feel the absence of Jeffrey Jones, and I understand why he's not a part of the production, why they didn't want him anywhere near it. If you look up, and I'm not going to discuss it on here, but he did some things that he shouldn't have done, and that's what got him kicked off of any plans of being in Beetlejuice. So, but yeah, they tried to implement Charles into the film, and it was weird, and I didn't like how they did it. I did not like how it was done, and it's just, I don't know. You just can't touch the original Beetlejuice. You really can't, and it's a classic. So it wasn't a bad movie, but like I said, there were too many storylines in the film, and it just felt like they were they weren't explored fully, and they could have gone into more detail with it, but they didn't, and it was disappointing. Like I said, Charles Death's story, they should have just left it out completely. They should have just said, "Oh yeah, he passed away." But when they actually do try to explore uh, the way he, I know, I mean, if you've seen the trailers, you know that Charles dies, but they try to explore his backstory and how it happened, and it's just really weird what they do with it. It reminded me kind of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a movie it reminded me of where they did that. Where it just felt out of place, and they tried to replace the actor and it just didn't work, and you could totally tell that was a different actor. That's what they did here, and yeah, they should have just left him out completely. If they were worried about it, they should have just left him out completely. So yeah, I guess my expectations for this film were a little bit high, maybe too high, and I feel like even Beetlejuice didn't get that much screen time, but then again, he didn't get much screen time in the original film. I think he only got 10 minutes, but it focused on Adam, Barbara, and Lydia. And Charles and Delia were there, but they were side characters. The problem with this film is that everyone was a main character. It felt like it, and it felt like their stories, like I said, they weren't explored, and they should have been. Because they were trying to make side characters main characters. Like, I did not like Rory. He was annoying. He was Lydia's love interest. He was kind of scummy and just, you could tell he was fake. I didn't like that. But and I actually made this comparison with like Otho, because Otho was the stuck-up rich guy. But the thing is that he had class and he was decent about it. Rory had nothing going for him. Like, he was just annoying from the beginning all the way to the end. He had no redeeming qualities about him. Otho was full of himself, but he was funny and he had charisma. So Justin Theroux, I mean, I'm sure he's great in other films, but I did not like him in Beetlejuice, and his character didn't feel like it. Just, they didn't need to put him in there. They really didn't. And then they tried to explore Lydia's first relationship with Jenna Ortega's father. Like I said, they had too many main characters in the movie and not enough screen time. Now, I feel like if they were going to do that, then they probably should have put Beetlejuice into at least 2 parts. So, but that's just my play. This is just my review coming out the door. I'm going to say give it a shot, but it has, I don't know, it's kind of a hit or miss with me. I'd have to watch it a second time to, because there have been times where I watched the movie the first time and I didn't like it, and then I watched it a second time and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't analyze it from that perspective. So I'm willing to wait and give another review, a second viewing, to completely analyze it. I'll probably do it when it comes out on 4K. So, but yeah, I will plan to do a more in-depth review of Beetlejuice when it comes out on 4K. So, thank you all for watching. I hope that you all have a great evening, and yeah, stay strange and unusual.